New Zealand's evers-swindell twins, without doubt the universal favourites to take this women's double sculls title. World champions for the past 2 seasons.
It's certainly going to be a pleasure to watch the New Zealanders. They have been so dominant these last 2.5 years. They always get out in front and they look so powerful, and they're sculling better than ever right now. So they could go on, they're still young, they could go on to Beijing and probably even beyond. But they are a superb double, and they frightened off the great Katrin Boron, the German sculler, who's won 10 gold medals over the last 15 years. She was in the double up until Lucerne at the World Cup there, but the German coaches reckon that she didn't have a chance of beating the New Zealanders, and so she was moved into the quad, and they're probably favourites in the quad. So they frightened off the main competition, and here they go out in front almost from the first stroke.
It does look a little bit ominous, but having said that, Bulgaria, Germany and Great Britain all still very much in close proximity. On the far side, Mihalcea and Strymbeshi for Romania, a recently put together partnership just beginning to lose touch. Mihalcea took a break after the Sydney Olympics, came back last year. Waleska, though, in the stroke seat for Germany, still going well. And on the near side, the Ukraine, always to be respected in their sculling boats, particularly the quad sculls, where they've had so much success. Silvers in Seoul in '88, again in Atlanta, and their quad was 4th in Sydney.
Yeah, no, the Ukrainians have got a very good tradition, both in men's sculling and in women's sculling. They're always well. But here, as they come up to the 500-metre mark, New Zealand just about to break clear. And Great Britain doing well to stay in this field. They've got an outside chance of a medal. They're very young, just put together rather latterly, and certainly not the priority boat in the British team, but doing very, very well here, very lively, and they've done some very nice racing through the World Cups. At the moment it's Germany there picking up the pace, trying now to catch the tail end there of the New Zealanders.
Bulgaria with Anet Bushman and Miglena Markova on the far side. There they are in picture, just about in 3rd place at the moment with the British. Yeah,
it's interesting to see that. They're very low rating strokes there, the Bulgarians. Very, very low indeed. They're at 32 strokes a minute. Everybody else up around 34, 35 strokes a minute. But Bulgaria long and very strong, very powerful. Here, contrast that with the British double here. Sarah Winkler sitting in the stroke seat, very lively, very sharp on the legs, quite upright in the way that they scull, but staying very much close to the leaders.
Interesting how much progress Sarah Winkler has made. You remember back in the World Cup where she found herself a bit of a super sub, where she had to go in the double scull and the quad, and from that moment on she seemed to have come of age in the boat.
Absolutely, she realised what she's able to do, and I think this season has really been the making of her. You know, she's got quite a lot of experience behind her, but she's never been really up there with the medalists, and this season I think she turned around, and I hope that they, as a double, they go on through to Beijing, because they've got a lot of potential.
But the crew that's really dominating are the 25-year-old New Zealanders at the halfway mark, with clear water over Germany, who are solidly in 2nd place, with Bulgaria just 3rd ahead of Great Britain, then the Ukraine, and on the far side Romania finding it's all too hot. But here are the two 21-year-olds, and still within a chance of a medal.
They're Bulgaria at 29 strokes a minute. That's very, very low. I mean, they're very powerful athletes, but it's very low, and you have to wonder whether a bit further up the field whether they're going to be able to raise that pace when the attack comes from the pursuing scullers. But no one is going to challenge New Zealand. Look how they fight back. They're enjoying it. Big smile on the face there of stroke. They're sitting back there and using all their undoubted power through the stroke. They miss nothing at the beginning of the stroke. They power it right through. It's very simple, very straightforward what they do, but it's so effective.
And their coach Richard Tonks should be pretty happy with what he's seeing. By contrast, in 5th place and now out of picture, Romania trailing. The Romanians who last won this title way back in 1984.
But certainly, look, it's Germany that are very much now the silver medal position there, moving very, very, very sweetly. Very, very experienced pair there. Oppelt was second in the double scull last year, and Peggy Valeska was first, and third in the last 3 World Championships in the quad. So lots of experience, and Great Britain just moved ahead now of that low-rating crew, Bulgaria, on the far side. Look at the difference in rating there. The British double probably about 5 strokes a minute higher, and beginning to move back on Germany, beginning to move back on the silver medal position.
This British duo who took over the responsibility in the double scull this season from Rebecca Romero and Debbie Flood, who you'll be seeing in the quad final. And with 500 metres to go, still a chance that they could fight out for the silver medal, but the Bulgarians predictably finding the pace now too hot.
The Great Britain double are up at 40 strokes a minute, but they're not going to make any impression on New Zealand here, who look with that great power at the finish of the stroke and a big smile on their face. They know they've got it there by 3 lengths. But there is a chance of getting onto terms with Germany. They're at 40 strokes a minute, the Great Britain double. Germany have responded now. That's pushing them on back to New Zealand. Germany have gone up now to 37 strokes a minute, and they're not going to catch New Zealand, but they certainly will have enough to keep Great Britain at bay. There's Sarah Winkles keeping it up lively, still up at around 40. It's a very gutsy performance, and there they are just trying to close the gap there on Germany, but it's a gutsy fighting performance there from Great Britain, up to 41 strokes a minute, and they've been like that now for 500, 600 metres.
Into the last 250 metres of the race now, and no danger really to the New Zealanders, but as I say that, actually Germany just putting in a really good push there. Peggy Waleska and Britta Oppelt just making second place their own. Georgina and Caroline, though, they can see whatever happens there, and they are seeing the Germans close and move away from Great Britain, but Great Britain solidly ahead of the Bulgarians. There's no danger to Great Britain at the moment in terms of the bronze medal, but look at this, Dan, from the Germans, a real power finish here.
Look how fast they've moved away from the Great Britain double there. Great Britain, their spurt started to fade out. They pushed on and they've moved up very fast onto New Zealand, but New Zealand are going to be clear. They're going to come through there about half a length in front as they cross the line, but a great finish there from Germany, who opened up enormously there from Great Britain, who come in to take the bronze medal.
Makes you wonder, Dan, what might have happened if Peggy and Britta had just pushed a little bit earlier.
Yeah, if they'd had a bit more courage actually in the middle part of the race, they could have really perhaps done more damage there at the end.
Nonetheless, for New Zealand, for Georgina and her twin sister Caroline, job done. And as you can see here, the first 3 well ahead of Bulgaria, Romania and the Ukraine. So mission accomplished, and being just 25, hopefully they'll stick with it to Beijing and even London in 2012, should we be fortunate enough to win the bid. For Elise Laverick and Sarah Winkles on the far side, and their coach Miles Forbes Thomas, a fantastic bronze medal.